Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. You're here with the MMANonstop.com podcast. MMANonstop.com, the first place for news and notes in the world of MMA. We combine news from all over the web in one place to save you time. Episode 5 today, folks. Episode 5, we've got an inspirational guest in Mark the Fight Shark Miller. Mark's got a very inspirational story about how he came back from open heart surgery in 2007 and is fighting this weekend in Russia. MMANonstop.com, the fight starts here. All right, we're very excited to welcome our guest today, Mark the Fight Shark Miller. Mark, thank you so much for being here. How are you?
I'm good. Thanks for having me, gentlemen.
Absolutely. Hey, Mark, this is Brian. And so you're fighting this weekend, Nikolai Saline at Ultimate Glory World Series on Saturday, May 28th in Russia. But on top of that, you're coming back from the open heart surgery, so you're the first one to do so. Tell us a little bit about how your career, though, first, and how you got started in kickboxing.
I've never told this story before, but I just, started in boxing as a child with my father, probably around 6, and then got into martial arts at around 10, and then by the time I was a teenager, it was kind of, if anybody knows anything about, the karate tournament point fighting, it's kind of like playing tag in pajamas. So at the point where I actually wanted to hit people, because I was getting in trouble for, excessive contact in those, and that's when I, got into kickboxing, because in those days it was pretty big on ESPN. That was like the old PKA days, and then I started seeing WKA on ABC, Wide World Sports, Dennis Lexio, Maurice Smith, Brock Kamen. So that's basically how I got into the sport initially. And then I turned pro in 1996.
All right. Who was your first fight against?
My first fight. Oh my God.
There you go. Okay. Well, let's go instead. What was the first fight like? Rather, the first time you stepped into the ring. How was that experience?
Kind of like somebody sucked all the energy out of me.
Yeah.
Because there's a bunch of people, even though you're training tons of rounds, doing tons of sparring. It was just for some reason that first one kind of, took all my energy away. By the end of the first round, I thought I had ran a marathon. But, ended up getting the decision, so it was, it ended up all right. I mean, the result was good, but the feeling on my heart during the fight wasn't.
Yeah.
But
You brought up your heart, and take us back to your last match. It was in 2006, and at that time, you kind of found out that you were going to have to fight and have open heart surgery. Kind of talk us through kind of what happened there and what's going on.
Well, what happened was initially S1, which is a promotion out of Thailand, was doing their first show in the United States, and they were doing it in Miami. So obviously, I had to get licensed through the Florida State Athletic Commission. And they run, their gauntlet of tests that you always go through whenever you fight in the states, in a state that has a commission. And what happened was my EKG had come back a little off, and being that they knew I had a pre-existing condition, they figured maybe I should go see a cardiologist. So I was actually was training in Arizona, and I'd come back to Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, to see a doctor because my back had been giving me problems. And being that I had a back surgery, I, wanted to get that checked out, and I figured, okay, I'll just kill 2 birds with 1 stone. I'll go see a cardiologist. And, the back problem was, okay, you had surgery, it's flaring up, give it, take some rest. I'm like, yeah, okay, doc, sure, as I'm winking and, crossing my fingers because, I got a fight coming up. But then as I was leaving that appointment, I got a call from my cardiologist nurse, and she had said he wants to see you in the office first thing in the morning. I'm not the smartest guy, but I knew that was not a good sign.
Sure.
So I went in, and he basically, long story short, it was basically, if you don't get surgery, you're going to fall over dead. So I didn't listen. I wanted a second opinion, and, it's pretty well documented, everything that happened after that, but it was just, I didn't want to accept it at first because, as I said before, it wasn't on my terms. But obviously, in the end, I got the surgery, and now I'm finally coming back after all that time.
Now, how long did you originally have to be out before you could start, training after your surgery?
They told me not to do anything for 12 weeks, so I didn't do anything for 13. But
okay.
Then, 13 weeks after the surgery, I had started the training again.
And how was that, that first time getting back and start training again? Kind of really, how was that for you?
It was a little strange because, my body wasn't the same. I mean, I hadn't done anything for 3 months. So, it was a little slow at first. But then I steadily picked up. And it just, it got better and better. But then I had some other issues, which, is the reason they're doing the documentary. And that kind of slowed me down, more than anything else, more than the heart did. So. Well,
if we can, let's talk a little about some of those, those issues. You've been kind of open about them and some of those challenges that you had in your life. Kind of talk to us about some of the things that has kept you from, kind of delayed making your comeback.
Well, the day I was cleared to start training from my heart surgery, my father suddenly fell ill, and then what happened was my father ended up passing, and then a month after my father had passed, my mother passed, and 3 months after she had passed, my brother passed, and in beautiful Austin, Texas, I had a near-fatal car crash where I went headfirst through the windshield of a Dodge Ram pickup. And then I had knee surgery subsequently, so I had a couple things hold me back. I had, dissolution of my marriage, trying to take care of, everything, because you become, when you're the only heir to anything, you become responsible for all the legal ramifications from people's deaths. So, there was all that, a couple things.
Sure. It kind of sounds, kind of when it rains, it pours. Was there ever a time that, you said, look, I mean, this is it. I mean, all this stuff is a sign. I mean, should I be done with this? Should I make it?
Like I've also said before, I mean, I'm not going to lie and say that it never crossed my mind, but, coming back to fight was always my goal that kept my head above water, whether it was the heart surgery or anything else. And, I am a little bit stubborn, and, I'm a bullhead, so I just kept looking forward. Did I ever think, maybe this is a sign the universe is trying to tell me to just, to stop? But, excuse my French, but fuck the universe. I knew what I wanted to accomplish, and I just kept pushing forward.
Yeah, and it sounds through the training you probably had to you had to change the way you trained a little bit. What kind of different techniques, or what did you have to do differently in this camp that you've had to do from the past?
As far as what?
Training. How much were you easing into it? Were you able to push yourself near at the end as much as you had in past training camps?
Other than that I'm an old man, no. I mean, there's no difference. You got to understand, I was born with this problem.
Yeah.
I no longer have the problem. Everybody gets hung up, the AOL ass raping that I took yesterday because I'm coming back and everybody thinks, everybody's telling me an expert. I had a problem my entire career. I fought and was licensed and fought all over the world my entire career with the problem. I no longer have the problem. My aortic valve was never correct, was never formed correctly. They completely replaced my aortic valve. I am fine. The cardio machine I was before is even more so now, because I don't have all the hang-ups and all of the, the problems I had my whole life, and obviously my whole career. I'm actually, when it comes to, my cardiac health, I'm better than I ever was. So I'm able to train harder and better, and I have the best trainers in the world. I mean, I've trained in this camp with Rob Kamen and Buddy McGirt, which in the boxing and kickboxing world, you're going to be hard-pressed to find much better. So I've been blessed, and I've had a hard 8-week camp, and I'm looking forward to show the world how good that camp was on Saturday in Moscow.
Has there been any types of, extra testing? You feel great, and you feel like your body is, your heart's obviously better because you don't have this issue you had before, but, are there doctors that are trying to do extra testing for you to make sure that, you're going to be okay?
Absolutely. I mean, it was part of running through the hoops for the California State Athletic Commission. I mean, they're going to do stress tests on me, and I've passed those with flying colors. So like I've said before in other interviews, I didn't take this lightly and just say, okay, I feel good, I'm going to go fight, do whatever I want. I mean, we know I've had the best specialists in the world. I had my surgery done at the Cleveland Clinic by the best surgeons for these particular surgeries in the world. I know a lot of people say that, but I mean, if you want to Google these guys, go ahead and you'll find out.
Sure.
They've cleared me. They've put me through all the proper testing. I mean, whether it's me, my management around me, any people that are concerned, we know what people are going to think, even if it's uneducated or misguided. So we've, crossed all our T's and dotted all our I's, just to make sure that everybody, understands and is happy with the results that they get before, they let me fight.
That is part 1 of our interview with Mark the Fight Shark Miller. Look for part 2 right here at youtube.com/MMA Nonstop.